Good news, everyone. The world's richest man is surprisingly based, and he's decided that he's going to buy up Twitter bit by bit. And I tell you what, I'm absolutely here for it. But before we go on, just in case you'd like to support us, there are ways of doing so. You can go to lotus.com and check out The Politics of American Psychos. This is for premium members. Sign up for £5 a month. Get access to... This is amazing, right? You are not going to believe Harry's incredible impression of American Psycho. I never realized he had this talent. But also, Harry and Thomas do an amazing breakdown of the postmodern nature of the tale. It's really fascinating. Definitely check it out. But anyway, so... Did you know that Elon Musk had bought up a significant percentage of Twitter?
9.2%, didn't he?
Yeah.
He did it a couple of weeks ago, but it wasn't only announced recently. I'm like, why didn't I buy it? He made £1 billion in a day.
Well, hang on, don't spoil it all.
Oh, sorry.
Christ. Right, so a couple of weeks ago, Elon was tweeting out some very interesting things. Like, let's see, should the Twitter algorithm be open source? 82% of his followers were like, yeah, it should. Very interesting. And what was really interesting is that former Twitter CEO Jack Dorsey retweeted this and agreed with him. He said the choice of which algorithm to use or not should be open to everyone. I mean, I was never very impressed with Jack Dorsey's tenure over Twitter. It's interesting how he's becoming a dissident after he's left that position.
Well, but there's possibly no way he could have understood how... like the Henry Ford going, I'm going to invent this thing.
We will get to that. In fact, you're presaging a lot of interesting stuff there. We'll get to exactly that, right? So anyway, we'll go back to Elon Musk. And he then subsequently tweeted out, well, free speech is essential to a functioning democracy. And that's a proposition, which I think is true. And so he asks, do you believe Twitter rigorously adheres to this principle? 29% of people who follow him said yes. Who are they?
Is that trolls?
Yeah, verified check marks who've got the verified checkmark brain disease. But of course, 70% of people like no. And the thing is, interestingly, if you scroll down a little bit on this one, John, under it, he's like, the consequences of this poll will be important. Please vote carefully.
Please buy Twitter shares. Damn it.
Exactly. That's very interesting, isn't it? And so Elon is pondering the Twitter effect, right? And if you go to the next one, he's like, well, given as Twitter serves as the de facto public town square, failing to adhere to free speech principles fundamentally undermines democracy. What should be done? And underneath this, he questions, is a new platform needed? And the thing is, this is something that's been tried. Now, you can go follow us on Getter, you can follow us on Gab, Minds, and all of these other platforms. And God bless these people for trying. But the problem is that Twitter occupies a kind of cultural space that is a bit hegemonic when it comes to political discussion. And so Elon didn't create his own new platform. He decided to buy a bunch of Twitter shares. This nearly $2.9 billion worth of shares in Twitter, which, I mean, it must be nice to be the world's richest man.
Yeah.
Just be like, yeah, you know what? I will spend $3 billion screwing over my political opponents today.
I'd just love to be what's his name, the guy that now runs it, who doesn't believe in free speech.
Parag Agrawal.
I'd love to be in Parag's office as your major shareholder walks through the door.
Yes.
Parag, do you believe in free speech? No.
I mean, he's expressly said he's not.
Yeah, he does. He has a real problem. It's. I think it's great. They'll try and get rid of it, won't they?
Oh.
But
sure. But what can they do?
Well, as someone actually, the thing about, you're right, Twitter is funny because that's where your enemies are. And I like engaging my enemies.
Same.
Because I think, what's the point in echo chamber? Everyone goes, Twitter's an echo chamber. Like, trust me, it's
not. It's not there.
It's not for, it is for certain viewpoints.
It's a battleground that's heavily weighted in the favour of one side.
Yeah. Well, there's that tweet that remains up. There's a video that remains up threatening to have J.K. Rowling murdered, isn't there? And it remains up. It doesn't violate Twitter's rules. It's a direct death threat to J.K. Rowling.
Surely that breaks the law in whatever country it was posted from.
Well, that's the thing. I think we should have digital borders and things like that. But it's good news that Elon is. He's a heterodox thinker. Yeah. You need that sort of man.
Yeah. And I generally have quite a fondness for Elon because he posts a lot of memes I think are actually really funny. Yeah, they're really good. He's got a great sense of humor. And he is doing, in my opinion, the right thing. That's most important, I think. He is doing the genuinely right thing. So yeah, he bought a 9.2% stake in Twitter, making him the largest single shareholder. Jack Dorsey only has 2.2% stake in Twitter. So
Vanguard and BlackRock have the others.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
I didn't know that, actually.
Yeah.
And so, and this is interesting because, of course, it means that Twitter suddenly becomes valuable on the stock market again. Because I'm sure that we'll see a graph at some point, but the Twitter shares have just been dying hideously.
Well, they made They made a $400 and something million loss last year.
Yes, they consistently year after year they make losses,
Yeah.
And him putting this money into it has, of course, increased the share price of Twitter by 26% in overnight, which actually means that Elon's made something like $750 million.
Buy Channel 4.
Yeah, well, God, Elon, just start buying up.
Come on, Elon.
Just stop buying up all the stuff and ruining it basically for the left. That's what I want.
That's all we want.
Yeah, so he's made Twitter a profitable company by just looking at it,
Good.
which is very interesting. But what's interesting is he's become the biggest shareholder, and this, as Time magazine say, this is an interesting take. The announcement will be yet another major test for new Twitter CEO Parag Agrawal, who replaced Dorsey after he unexpectedly resigned in November. Agrawal vowed to increase accountability, make decisions faster, and improve product execution. Okay, that's very nice and corporate, but that's not the problem with Twitter.
No.
At all. But it's interesting. It's a major new test. Major new test. Well, what's he going to do? He can't unsell those shares.
No.
Like, you can't stop Elon Musk from doing anything. But anyway, so Elon Musk has bought a passive stake. Now, I'm not a share man, I'm a stock trader, I don't know anything about it. So I went to Investopedia, right? And so they say passive investing is a method that seeks to avoid fees and limited performance that may occur with frequent trading. Passive investing's goal is to build wealth gradually. We can go to the next one, John. Build wealth gradually. Also known as a buy and hold strategy, passive investing means buying security to own it long term. Unlike active traders, passive investors do not seek to profit from short-term price fluctuations or market timing. The underlying assumption of passive investment strategy is that the market posts positive returns over time. So the main, if you scroll down, you can see that they point out the flaws with this. And basically, if you're looking to make money trading stocks, you don't do this because the returns are not good. And as they say, it's got a poor track record. The data shows that very few actively managed portfolios beat their passive benchmarks, especially after taxes and fees are accounted for. Indeed, over medium to long time frames, only a small handful of actively managed mutual funds surpass their benchmark index. So what they're saying there is basically this is not a way to make money.
No, he's basically in it for the
politics.
rumble.
Yeah, exactly. And
free speech. It is so important. And it wasn't long ago that I was looking at China and going, God, it must be awful having to censor yourself on Weibo or whatever.
Yeah,
and now they're probably looking at us going, well done, guys. How's YouTube going for you and Twitter and all that?
We can at least define women.
Yes, we can.
Well, literally, you'll get suspended from Twitter if you misgender someone. So you can.
I do it I do it deliberately all the time.
Don't get yourself suspended. Elon's not in charge of it yet.
Yeah, that's true.
But the point is, if people are going to be like, oh, he's just going to do this to try and make money, or no, that's not. That doesn't appear to be the case. But the analyst for Yahoo Finance had a take on this. He thinks that, quote, this is just the appetizer. Ultimately, we believe he will have an active stake over the coming weeks or months. This is just the start. I think he will have a broader strategic focus on Twitter, whether it's changing the slate, changing the management team, or ultimately a buyout. Say their analysts on here. Maybe. I don't know, and I don't know anything about stock.
I wouldn't want him to have the a buyout of the whole thing either. I think what you need these big tech's much more dangerous to us than our own government in a way, isn't it? Because our governments do what big tech tells them to do. So you don't want him to own everything, but we do need a place, as he says, it is the modern public square. You do need a place where you can express a different view. Also, because if you can express a different view, you begin the process of recapturing someone's ability to be offended.
Yes.
Because everyone's forgotten how to deal with offence. Yep. So that's what Twitter should.
To be honest with you, I'm in favour of him buying them out and having a controlling share of it.
Yeah, well.
Because, it'll be mad, won't it? They'll be screeching. It'll be great.
Yes.
We get an official statement from Elon on this. Oh, hi, lol. I'm sorry, I just really like the way he conducts himself on Twitter. I want him to own it.
He's got a sense of humour, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does.
You can see a sense of humour is a sign of humanity.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I hate to say it, but I really think that Elon Musk is the most relatable person on like in the public sphere at the moment because Donald Trump was deplatformed.
I wonder when did you see the typical liberals this morning of the video of Elon letting Donald back up?
Yes. Well, this again, like this is, you will be unsurprised to learn that almost everyone and their mother who doesn't have a verified checkmark on Twitter is saying, restore Donald Trump, restore Donald Trump, restore Donald Trump, because that's the test. You know, if Elon can get Donald Trump back on,
do it now.
Then Twitter could actually become a useful platform again.
It should really be trending.
Yes, it should. Donald Trump should be trending on Twitter.
I can't be bothered with Twitter.
Along with Elon Musk. Yeah. But anyway, so Elon was asking other questions as well. It's like, do you want an edit button? 73% of people do.
It's a good idea. I've always thought an edit button is important because people often spell things wrong, but it's deliberately not. Also, the other thing I think you should have is a redact button or an opinion changed button. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, this is the problem with Twitter is what it is quite a micro blogging site, and so it's not it is for concrete public statements. That's actually how they envisaged it initially. And so it is, in fact, there's a person who posts under here. If you go to the next one, John, I think it's, this person who actually puts out a very reasonable set of conditions, which in fact Elon Musk was like, oh, that sounds reasonable. It should have an edit button for only available for a few minutes after the tweet is posted. And when an edit is made, there's a small link that shows the edit. This keeps a public record, but allows the tweet to fix a simple mistake and re-notify the followers in the new tweet, which sounds very reasonable. And I think that's exactly right, because you don't want 5 years ago someone to have made a statement and then go back and edit it.
No.
To change history, obviously. We don't want that.
Well, I had tweet delete on for ages on my thing, so because I just didn't want to. I don't really view it. I don't know what microblogging is, but I just use Twitter as a sort of broadcasting platform too. So and my views change sometimes. So I have it. I used to have it on, but I've taken it off now because I don't mind.
But the point is, you don't want someone who's been making a series of statements to then go back and edit those so they are different statements. It's just retroactively change the past.
No.
So I think it's very a few minutes.
It's sensible. You say the wrong thing. I did one yesterday. I said the lady who wrote the rules for lockdowns was fined for breaking lockdowns, and I said I called her a minister, and she wasn't. She was a civil servant. And all people did was just, and I could have just changed it. Yes. Sorry for being human.
Oh God, there was a very small mistake in that tweet. God. Anyway, so I think that's a good point. So what do you think the left-wing response to this was?
Joy, clapping, happiness, thrilled. Let's have a look at what they said.
Yeah, hysterical screeching from one data scientist at Twitter.
I love Andy. He finds these things so brilliantly, doesn't he, Andy?
He's so great, isn't he?
Yeah.
But I love this. I'm honestly kind of terrified right now, crying.
They're always terrified.
But what's a prominent transphobe is buying a stake in Twitter? It's not at all funny. I don't know. I think it's kind of funny. I'm kind of enjoying it.
I love the way that we've just jumped off racism now. Now it's transphobe. I mean, and the problem is the next one is mental health.
Yeah. Is Elon Musk not a racist by this person's standard?
He must be. Everyone's a racist.
Exactly.
There is no one who isn't a massive, huge racist.
But I look at the mental illnesses. Feminist, demisexual, genderqueer, trans woman. Yeah, okay. Yeah. That's exactly what I would expect to see someone.
In no way.
Data scientist at Twitter.
Mentally unwell.
No, someone who you would certainly trust with important decisions. But there was a tweet going around about losers already resigning. This one people have been sharing around a lot. My name is Jackson Mulholland, and I'm one of many people working here at Twitter in charge of developing terms and conditions for users. We're not stripping away free speech. We're protecting users from bullies, bigots, and spam. I refuse to work with or for Elon Musk. I'm resigning. Now, this is a parody account.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, right.
However, it's really hard to tell.
Yeah.
Because that looks exactly what our Twitter data scientist would have tweeted.
There's something interesting about that. Let me just, where is it?
Here you go.
Because essentially what he's saying, we're not, I know it's a parody account, but as you say, it's what would be said. We're not stripping away free cheats. We're protecting users from bullies and bigots and spam.
Yeah.
Now, there is a bit in the Bible which is quite useful about this. Good sense and discretion make a man slow to anger, and it is his honour and glory to overlook a transgression or an offence. So the Bible commands you to deal with offence. and it's one of the fundamental things to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we've all the little the rainbow stealers, as I call them, are sitting
The people who recognise the covenant with God.
Yes. They just everything is about protecting themselves from things they don't like, and that is the exact opposite of free speech.
Yes,
it is. It's so. Yeah.
It is the very source of their tyranny. And as I said, this being a parody account, well, I mean, technically it's satire, but it's also speaking to a deep-seated truth about the left wing. And if there aren't a series of statements like this made by leftists working at Twitter, I would be genuinely surprised.
Yeah.
But I mean,
they'll be outside. They'll be outside HQ.
Oh yeah, they'll be outside protesting
in masks.
Yeah, in the same way. What was it they did it for? Netflix.
Yeah.
The Netflix protest.
After was it Dave Chappelle?
Yes.
Yeah.
It'll be exactly the same. In fact, in the next couple of days, I bet we see exactly that. But so basically, Jane Mulholland is less a satirist than he is prophet, I think. But anyway, so this was a really interesting thread that I found, and I agree with almost all of the statements in it. So this was just some random guy who's like, look, I've got some advice for Elon Musk on this. So I don't know who this guy is, but I'm going to guess he's a pretty veteran culture warrior. And so I thought it was just worth reading out because I think this is definitely good to know. So one is move extremely fast. Don't give them time to plan and react. They are still shell-shocked and won't be thinking clearly. Totally agree. Just get on there. Get on there. 2, put pressure not only on the leadership but lower level employees as well. Woke companies are more autonomous than you might initially think. Their employees are there because they already know what to do. Get as many of those who will be a problem to quit as possible. Absolutely. Literally go in there like an absolute hammer, being like, look, I'm the biggest shareholder here now. My voice is the loudest. If you don't like it, you know where the door is. Number 3 is, of course, restore Trump immediately, or at least publicly vocalize your willingness to do so. This will help with the previous suggestion. Bring back Malone, McCullough, and some of the other well-known banned accounts. Frankly, bring back all of the banned accounts.
Yeah.
I want my account back, Elon.
Yeah,
I want my account back. Let's have it.
How dare they say who can and can't have an account?
Exactly.
It's either a free space for all or it's not.
Jack Dorsey called Twitter a human right. So you're depriving me of my human rights, Jack. Elon, be a human rights supporter. Get me back on Twitter.
Reinstate Carl Benjamin.
Yeah, exactly. Number 4 is increase your stake every time the leadership publicly counter-signals you.
I like that one.
That's great, isn't it? With only 9%, you'll be a pariah to them, but if you show a willingness to increase it, you'll be able to leverage it. That's such a good idea. Like, literally, I'm the richest man who's ever lived.
Behave like
But publicly counter-signals. If you even speak against my agenda here, I'm buying more. And more and more. Do you want to see me own your entire company? You'll do as I said. That is absolutely brilliant advice.
I like this present witness guy.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, I don't know anything about him, so if he's a terrible dude, then okay. But that's fantastic advice, right? Number 5, apply pressure to the NGOs involved in fact-checking and hate speech classification. Keeping in mind this isn't just one company. What we perceive as Twitter is a vast network of NGOs, State Department operatives, and advertisers coordinating to drive the narrative. Completely correct.
100% agree with that.
Yeah. Number 6, signal intent to move away from the legal defense shield of AI/ML and towards a more human content mediation approach. Twitter and Facebook hide behind this defense to avoid legal accountability for obviously politically targeted aggression. Fair enough. Number 7, market this as a pivotal piece of a greater cultural movement to restore America. It's a good idea.
Didn't someone try and make America great again?
There may have been someone who maybe should be restored to Twitter.
Someone who tried that.
Who had an opinion on it like that. Yeah. There are many people who can still be reached that desperately want something positive to latch onto after what they've been subjected to over the last few years. And that's what made Donald Trump so appealing, I think. He had a positive vision. It wasn't just these people bad.
He had a positive vision, but he also had, a huge sense of humour.
Yes.
Did you see his thing about the hole-in-one?
No, I saw it being reported. But I
it
didn't
just goes a statement from the 45th President of the United States, and he just describes getting a hole-in-one. And he just releases it. The man has a sense of humour, and you can see Trump. I'm an actor, and you read body language. Yeah. This one, I was an actor until until
you decided that wokeism was bad.
Yeah, and you can tell Trump. As much as they tried to attack him, you can tell Trump is warm with people. He was very engaging with people. I know he slipped through the net of the grand narrative and had to be got rid of, but I think he's a good guy. But I feel exactly the opposite when I look at Biden.
Oh, yeah.
He looks like a creepy man.
Yes, he looks cold, and the amount of weird sniffing of children just makes me really suspicious of him.
Yeah.
So anyway, what we're on number 8. Put people you trust in there immediately to start to figure out how their internal processes work. They will try to adapt by shielding what they really do to outsiders, but again, this highlights how important it is you move quickly. 9. There is not even a chance they're going to treat you fairly. I don't expect it. Don't give them the benefit of the doubt. They fully understand the severity of the situation.
Good.
Well, exactly. He's absolutely right. Don't give them a chance. And again, look, you keep leveraging the I will buy more Twitter stock until you do what I tell you. Until literally you've got the choice now of doing it willingly or watching the world's richest man. I mean, like Elon Musk is worth what?
$256 billion,
right.
I think.
Twitter in its entirety is worth 40 billion.
Yeah.
And it was worth something like 35 billion until Elon Musk decided to buy up 3 billion's worth of stock. So it's like, look, Elon Musk could buy your company 4 or 5 times over. So don't make him do it. Just let him.
Even that margin, that small margin, 10%. If there's a 10% improvement in free speech, that will broadly wave out into society.
Exactly.
They need to put you back on there.
Yeah. And number 10, strike when they're emotional. Let the changes you cause become the story. They will literally write it for you, and the public will cheer for what you're doing. The liberal media is one of the most universally hated entities in the United States and outside the United States.
Yeah, but
we hate it too.
It's clever because it's strike while they're emotional. Let the changes you cause become the story.
Yeah.
It's like judo.
Yeah.
It's like let the weight of screaming rage collapse.
Yeah.
In on itself.
This was like Owen Jones going, Boris Johnson called gays bum boys and Muslim women letterboxes. And like, keep telegraphing that, Owen.
Yeah.
How do you think the general public feels about you activists these days? They're sick of it too.
He blocked me because I told him that he was standing on the corpses of the dead of Grenfell preaching at people.
Which he does.
Yeah, I can't bear these people.
And number 11, again, I don't know how much direct control over Twitter Elon Musk is going to have, because as a shareholder, basically, they're going to be voting based on the number of shares they've got on things that are voted on within the company. So it's unlikely he can do any of these things, really. But these are the directions in which he can go. And the buying more stock when they counter signal is the most powerful thing. Yeah.
It's also funny.
It's hilarious. Yeah.
And, when it's funny and mischievous, I love it.
Yeah, exactly. Whipping them into line.
Yeah.
But remove verified status for most journos, commentators, and media outlets. He's not going to be able to do that, but that would be hilarious. Anyway, so just to finish this off quickly, let's go back to Jack Dorsey. Because like you said, I think he realizes that he's part of the problem. He's created one of the tools by which the West is being totally crippled. He says, in the days of Usenet, IRC, the web, even email, were amazing. Centralizing discovery and identity into corporations really damaged the internet. I realize I'm partially to blame and regret it.
That's the beginning.
That's a very big admission, isn't it?
I've always thought Jack was a weirdo, scary Buddhist capitalist. One of those people that you go to school with. Well, I went to a posh school.
Yeah.
Who's like, they talk like that, mate, and you're like, your dad's a stockbroker. Stop it.
Yeah.
But he, anyone who can take any accountability for anything, I encourage and will support.
Yes. So good for Jack, basically, for at least accepting that he, that's a big step in the right direction,
isn't it?
And fair enough.
Or he's scared, and he realizes that I don't know. There's always something,
Yeah, but this is a bold and brave public statement to put out, and well done, Jack. Basically.
Well done, Jack.
Yeah. And just finally, just to show you the kind of person who's taking over here, Elon is a free speech absolutist, which I really like about him. He, not this one, John. Next one. Next one. There we go. He was asked by governments to block Russian news sources, and he said he won't do it unless at gunpoint because he's a free speech absolutist. Good for him.
Good for him.
Totally agree.
It's a tricky area, isn't it? Free speech absolutism, but you sort of have to be in a way.
Yeah, I think so. Whether you like it or not, we should be. And it's not just about their right to speak; it's about my right to hear.
Yeah.
I want to hear what they're saying and judge for myself. And if you take that away, what you're saying is I'm not allowed. I'm not capable of making a judgment for myself. Like no one watches Russia Today.
I do.
Okay.
I do it deliberately just to annoy just to annoy people. I watch it on social media because it's not been taken down.
No.
If you appreciated that segment from the podcast, The Lotus Eaters, you can go to lotuseaters.com to get access to all the premium content we have on the site, such as the Epoch series Carl and Bo do together, this one on the origins of the Peninsular War, and on the life of Napoleon. If you want to follow what else Carl is putting out, you can follow him on Getter at @CarlBenjamin on Getter. Thank you and goodbye.